Hey folks, I wanted to show off an elevator that I created in Minecraft. I did this a couple months ago and I'm just now getting around to creating a video about it. It actually uses two mods. One is Better Than Wolves and the other is RedPower. Both are amazing mods. RedPower especially is probably my favorite mod. It allows you to do a lot of very cool things that would be very difficult to do otherwise or impossible. It's a technical mod which kind of goes along with what I like to do in Minecraft is very technical things. So anyway, the elevator just got here. It's 4 floors. I'll start by demonstrating the elevator and then I'll explain how it works in a little more detail. Um, so we'll just go down one floor right to begin with. I numbered the floors B0 through B3 because we're kind of in the basement of this structure. So B0 being the top floor and B3 being the bottom floor. That's kind of numbered backwards. So anyway, we set ourselves down one floor, so we'll stop at this floor. And the door opens, just like it would in a real elevator. There's also call buttons on each floor to allow you to call the elevator to the floor you want to be. So we'll do something a little more complex, is we'll send ourselves down to the bottom floor. Notice how the elevator initially starts going up and then it heads down. That has to do with some lag in the system, and I'll explain that a little bit more later. Couldn't really get rid of it, or I haven't been able to, but I haven't tried that hard either. It just passed this floor. You can see it didn't stop or pause. It just keeps going like it would in a real elevator. It goes to whatever floor it's destined for. And here we arrive at bedrock at the bottom floor. You can see I cheated a little bit and put bedrock flooring in with a MC edit just because I thought it looked cool. So now I'll head up a floor using my service ladder. To call the elevator up to us. There's actually nothing on this floor now, it's just kind of a placeholder. I'm not sure when I'll put here. I'll put something eventually. So I just call the elevator to this floor and it's on its way up. One thing you'll see when the elevator arrives here is it's going to be off slightly, or sometimes it is anyway. It'll be off by 1 block probably. And again, that has to do with some lag in the circuit, and it's another thing I haven't been able to get rid of. It doesn't happen all the time, but it happens quite a bit, especially when it's headed up. And finally, I'll go ahead and finish up by sending the elevator up to the top floor. Again, it will skip this floor. We'll go right through it, and then it will head all the way to the top. And here we are. So now that I've demonstrated the elevator, I'll explain a little bit how it works. So back in this back room, this is all the inner workings of the elevator. You can see it's a fairly complex circuit, and it's composed of 2 mods. Again, this front part is Better Than Wolves. It has mechanical power with this water wheel, supplying mechanical power through these gearboxes, ultimately to these pulleys which actually control the elevator. So the elevator has 2 control lines. There's a green line, which is this one. It's on both sides because there's 2 pulleys. Which controls basically the brake of the elevator, whether the brake is applied or not. So when it's on, the elevator stops moving. When it's off, the elevator is allowed to move. And then these 2 gearboxes with the purple control line controls whether the elevator is headed up or down. So when it's blue, it heads down, or when it's turned on, when the purple is turned on, it heads down. When it's off, it heads up. And ultimately, you can see way in the distance there's a pair of lights. Those are the 2 state bits. So it's a 2-bit finite state machine for the engineers out there. It's synchronous. So when the green light is on, that means the pulley is the elevator is stopped, and when the purple light is on, that tells the elevator to go down. These buttons here are the same buttons that are in the elevator itself. They're replicated here for test purposes, and then also the detector blocks, which determine where the elevators at a particular floor are replicated back there for test purposes. When I was getting the elevator to work the first time, so we'll start just by pressing, say, 1 floor down with this button. So you'll see that these 4 lights right here are the state of the button press, so it basically latches which button has been pressed, and only one can be on at a time. To simplify the circuit, I actually take those 4 bits and I encode them into 2 bits here. So 0, 0, I have exposed wire here, but 0, 0 would be the top floor, 1, 1 would be the bottom floor, and then so on. The other part is these detector blocks right here. These 4 states are actually coded into 3 bits. So these two bits say which floor it's on. This third bit here is actually needed to determine when the elevator is between floors, which is needed for the circuit to work. So when this blue light, this dark blue light is on, or this dark blue wire is on, that means the elevator is between floors. So both of these basically 5 state bits feed into this state machine. So here's the state machine starting right here. So this is all the state encoding, and then the actual bits are back here. So I essentially use I kind of emulate D flip-flops. That's what this gate is. This is a multiplexer in RedPower. And so if we take the output and feed it back into itself, that basically acts just like a D flip-flop. So when the clock is low, with this white line being the clock, it holds its state, and whenever it goes high, it takes in whatever is coming in on this pink line. So it acts just like a D flip-flop. And the same thing over here. There's another one here. That dark blue line, which is basically the elevator when it's on it, the elevator's between floors, it's essentially used right before the flops in both cases here and here, and it just tells the flip-flop basically hold your state, don't change state while the elevator's between floors. And so the other part of the circuit is the clocking part, which is back here. This white line is actually the clock. Initially when I designed the circuit, I had it clocking all the time, which created lots of lag. So I came up with a way of just having the circuit clock only when one of the inputs changes state. So if a button is pressed, or if the elevator crosses over one of these detector blocks, the clock will clock for a little while and then stop. So it reduces lag quite a bit. And then these circuits back here are simple delay lines, which actually extend the length of a button press or whatever. So I'll just go ahead and press the bottom floor, and I'll show the elevator as it works. So this guy goes to 4. You can see these 2 bits are on, which basically say it should go to the bottom floor. And then we have these detector blocks over here. And so you'll actually see these guys feed into these gates right here, and you'll see these lines light up. So now it's on the 3rd floor down, and then it'll eventually reach the 4th floor. When it reaches the 4th floor, this purple light will turn off and the green will turn on. So the purple light again being up or down. So blue, when it's on, it means down, and green means stop when it turns on. So when it arrives at this floor, you can see then the green light came on, the purple light came off, and the elevator is where it should be. So I'll go ahead and just to finish the video out, I'll send the elevator back up to the top floor. So again, you can see the elevator just left that floor. It'll reach this floor. Takes a little while. There it goes. You can also see that every time it passes a floor, this clock will clock for a little while and then stop as the elevator heads up. And when it reaches the top, this green light will basically just turn on, which applies the brake. It doesn't really need to at the top floor, but it does anyway. And there it goes. Now it's the top floor. The green light turns on. So hopefully this was interesting or semi-interesting. Thanks for watching. Want to give a shout out to LRM and Flower Child, especially RedPower. I love that mod. I don't think this elevator would be, while it might be possible without it, it would be extremely difficult and extremely large. The circuit would be giant. With these like bundled cables, I can really get things tight. I can, with these gates, obviously, each one of these gates, some of the more complex gates would be many blocks in size. These multiplexers would probably be very large. Instead, they're just a single block. So anyway, I think it works reasonably well. And thanks for watching.